Okay, so this is the Harmonium without the straps on. That's where the screw is there, each side. This is the dust cover I made. Originally made it so the Velcro snaps in the back, but you can twist it around. I'll show you, do it later. Front, I purposely made these extra long so it's easier just to find it. It's just a basic poly cotton, so it's really easy to wash. If it does get a tear in it, it will continue to rip. So be careful about that. It's just a basic thing, and most likely if you're carrying it with the strap on it, which I'll put on in a second, it might begin to sail upwards a little bit if it's a windy day or just from walking with it. Put the straps on. The main reason I put the strap on it is because it can be very uncomfortable to carry this. It's not that heavy, but it's such a small thin wire handle, it can be very uncomfortable carrying it to the car or back from the car. So the strap isn't so much made to throw over your shoulder, although you could. I recommend carrying this part against your body, but you still have to be careful about those openings. So, and I definitely would not put, as you're carrying it to the car, when putting a jacket over here or whatnot, or putting a blanket, because what's going to happen is these keys are going to press down a little bit. As you're walking, it's going to jiggle side to side with those keys down, and eventually those keys are going to start sticking or leaking and whatnot. So just because it has the strap and the cover, still try to be careful with it, because it's not a traveler model. It doesn't have the protective, any kind of a protection for the keyboard. And what else? But it goes around. And I would just keep the strap long so you can just lay it back out of the way. Goes around like that. And that's that, and you're ready to go. So if you're going to play it, just lay it back down out of the way. There's no drones on this particular harmonium. These are all stops. You want to open up both of these because it's a top folding bellows, and as you know, never press down on the never pump it without pressing the keys down without these stops out. What I usually do is pull out this base one about halfway only, maybe not quite. And this top one is really just a tremolo, but you could pull it out all the way just because these top keys need as much air they need more air than the lower ones, even though they consume more air in the bottom, because this top one's actually a tremolo. Sounds like it's not real consistent. Most people don't use them. It's not consistent, and it just sounds like someone's playing it through a fan. Cover, repainted the sidebars to match it. I redid the padding underneath here. There's two strips of padding, one that hits the bottom. I put some felt because the original fabric was just really thin and really terrible. I replaced this with another matching color. That just, whatever that is, that's a gasket. Replace this with matching fabric too, and just some old wallpaper. The original colors on this and that was like a wine color, red wine color, and this was like purple with some chips in it that was showing red underneath it. So just to get it to match the yellow knobs, I originally was going to replace these end knobs, but I didn't want to risk making them not strong enough. If you pull them off, then have the knob pull off. This will only go back in one way, these little tabs going on the top. So if you need more volume, definitely pull that off. Or if you want to do a manual drone, where you're lifting off the spring, that's where you do that. Otherwise, that's nice. It mutes the volume enough for home playing and practicing and whatnot. because if you do some manual drones, you're definitely going to need to pump it more. I did fix the spring, which was too strong. It was bulging out the bottom of the thing, so I replaced the nails, as you'll see in the other video. I was going to make another video with showing what I did. And these are just little felt bumpers. They'll probably come off as you use it, but they hide some brass screws that I replaced, so it definitely holds up much better, and it makes it easier to work on for the next person. I glued this crack here. There was a major crack where it had not completely broken off, but it was still kind of hanging loose, so I glued that. I replaced these screws with some Phillips head screws, because the flathead screws, the slotted ones, the slot was off a little bit, so if you're trying to do it, if you're trying to screw it or unscrew it, the screwdriver keeps popping off and chipping up the wood there, so I just replaced those screws. These screws in the front are okay. If you ever have to open it up, the way you'd open up this one is remove these two screws, take that off, remove these two screws, take that off. You can always take this off first, it doesn't matter. In fact, when you put this in, it gets in tighter for some reason if you put the front in first, especially on this left side, and then snap it in. A little bit on the left side is a little bit tighter than the right. And it may pop up a little bit when you're resting your hand there, because it's not completely even. So it's not doing it right now, but I noticed before when I'm playing it, right side might pop up just a little bit. But yeah, so I weakened the springs. I'll show you, that's in the other video, so that it didn't exhale. The inside bellows on the inside didn't exhale too fast, because that was a problem. It was just exhaling too fast, and you really had to pump it a lot and whatnot. Fixed all the keys. There's a slight unevenness in the keys, but I did go back. I originally tuned it a little bit with the masking tape and a little bit of scraping, and got it close so that at least the 2-note chords are tuned. And I went back and took the masking tape off, because there's only maybe 5 pieces. The scraping method is a lot faster, and you can really fine tune it. But that other harmonium I'd worked on had like a bunch of sideways cuts, which is not normal. That had weakened the reeds. On this one, I noticed that they were normal. So I did tune them all to 440. It wasn't that much of a problem. So, but if you're still playing 3-note chords, a little bit out of tune, just because the third should be slightly flat. You can't do that, otherwise you're only playing in one key. That's tempered tuning. So this is equal temperament tuning.